Hey everybody, it's Brittany at Big Cat Rescue in Tampa, Florida. Another home tour for you guys, and this one is going to be for Aria Tiger. Of course, you're going to see her neighbor, Miss Amanda, make a little cameo. So for today's tour, I hear you. For today's tour, I'm going to start at one end of Aria's enclosure, and we're going to walk all the way around so that you can see her true space. Amanda's just her silly neighbor. And so the first thing I'm going to explain is that Aria's enclosure actually hooks up to an above ground tunnel system where she can walk herself out to our 2.5 acre vacation rotation. And our big cats spend a month out there at a time, so hers is actually a very quick and easy trip. We can put this tunnel down and put the sides together and a roof and get it all locked up, and then she can walk right across the street. So this is the very first bubble for her, and get through the gate here. And so you'll see that the walls are curved, and then it's 4x4 inch galvanized wire, and that allows wind to whip right through these enclosures. We are in Florida, we have a storm season every single year. The curved walls provide a lot of strength, and the 4x4 allows the wind to just go right through it. So if anything were to fall or tumble down, the cages are designed to kind of crumple and create a blockage instead of just busting wide open. So you'll see that she has some scratching logs. She has a boomer ball that's got lots of scratches on it. And we're just gonna walk all the way around Aria's enclosure, and I'm sure we will come across her at some point. So the big cats have these really large concrete dens. They usually have 1 to 2 openings on them so that we can get eyes on them, so you can see all the way through to Amanda's side. And these provide great shelter for them during bad weather, or they also provide a way to keep them warm in the winter and cooler in the summer. So there's a little bit of a slope there so that you can allow the cats to get on top of the den if they want to. And so she has a little doorway here, a guillotine door, so if we need to shift her away or in to that first bubble, we can close that door there. Back here she has a platform, and then there's actually a pond there, but that pond needs some repairs, so it's currently just an empty area. But she's got a nice lake view, so we'll be repairing those ponds. That's something that you have to do quite often with a really big apex predator like that. They can spring leaks. So there's this tunnel that leads her from one bubble over, and we've got some tarps on top just to help provide extra shade in some of the areas that don't have a lot of trees. This here is a feeding lockout. This is Aria's feeding lockout. You can see that there's an elevated water bowl, a very large concrete plate, and then there's also a tile on top to help keep any debris out of the water. There's this pole right here that actually connects to the lockout door, so the guillotine door there, and the tunnel door. And then there's another one right here. So again, if we need to shift her around and block her completely out of a section, we can do that by opening and closing and locking those doors. So this is platform number 2 for her. She's got a large donut toy there. We'll walk around the backside so you can really see, but she's got a swimming pool there as well. She has a nice little den here. It's a much smaller one, but still tiger size. Sometimes they prefer to be in the smaller ones than the bigger ones. And then she's got another boomer ball there. So we're just gonna walk all the way around. This is a safety entrance, so this is how we would get into the enclosure if we needed to. It's a double door system. There's an outer door right here that is clipped and locked shut. We can go inside of there, and then we can either go through a door into that section, or the door would lead us into this section. And that's for any kind of maintenance reasons. We never go inside the enclosures with the cats while they're in that section. Another den here, it's a much lower one. This is the kind that they would like to lay on top of more than in. You can see that we have trees growing inside and outside of the enclosures. That helps provide some stability, and it also gives any of the cats that are lucky enough to still have claws the ability to scratch and rub on real trees. So we'll go around this bubble here. Another little view back to what we've already seen. This is the kind of path that our keepers walk every single day in order to check for debris and feces and old enrichment or leftover food. Some of the cats like their food to go, so. Now this is another view of that second bubble. And we have built these staircases to go over top of some of the tunnels in case we, in a flash, needed to get to the other side. We could do that very easily by walking over this bridge. So another little tunnel that allows us to shift and lock them in one side or the other if needed. Here's another view of one of her swimming pools. We won't go over the steps right now since we're gonna just walk her entire enclosure. So she has this large bubble here. So again, she can walk right through this opening into this section, and this section also has a platform, a donut toy, and another swimming pool. Plus you will see that there's another feeding lockout with a water bowl. There's another tunnel that will lead to another section. And then there's a doorway here that leads her into this front section. So she has a really giant boomer ball here and another very, very large concrete den. It's got, again, an opening on both sides. Another tree she can scratch on or rub against. Unfortunately, Aria was declawed, so scratching isn't necessarily what she does, but rubbing and chewing, they'll still do that. So another view back this way. Just got this big, beautiful tree right here. So as we keep walking, another view from this side of that den. The door, there is another safety entrance. This allows us to access either of these two bubbles. You can see there are hoses sporadically placed near all of the lockouts, so each hose reaches every single water bowl, and we clean those every single day. So cleaners come around after feeding and they scrub those tiles, they scrub the plates, and they add fresh water to all of the bowls. Here's another view of this platform and pool area. If you don't know Aria's story, it's definitely one that is absolutely worth going and checking out. Go to bigcatrescue.org/Aria and learn her story. So another pole with the ropes to each door. So if we had to close off this tunnel system, we could. Over here is swimming pool number 3. Another view of the lake, and this is platform number 3 or 4. I've lost track, have you guys? So she's got this nice big platform, another big boomer ball here, another door into yet another tunnel with another big concrete den. There's Miss Carole over across the street on her turn of vacation. Getting all the tiger cameos. Miss Carole and Amanda so far. So this is another view as we continue to walk around. Over here she has a very large stage platform, a low platform with a little ramp. There's yet another feeding lockout with another water bowl and another hose. Nice big tree that is inside the enclosure with her. And I finally see our Aria girl. So I'm gonna keep walking and then we'll end up right over there with her. So this is the other view of her feeding lockout. Now, feeding lockouts, the first one I showed you is the one she actually eats in, but we do have several others set up and ready for her to eat in if we can't use that one. For instance, we're doing maintenance on that particular bubble. So all of the lockouts have this chicken wire on them, and that is basically a thinner mesh wire to help keep any kind of vultures or large birds from trying to steal the food. Back around, yet another safety entrance. This is the one we would use to get into any of these 3 bubbles over here. They all have those nice guillotine doors that we can close. Usually when we close those, we will either use chains or a pole or locks to lock those down completely so a cat could never just lift it, because gosh knows they're strong enough to do that. So another view of that platform. Now she has this amazing tree trunk in here, another toy. So if I just walk you right up to it, you can see the scale of this. Tigers can leap right over that with no challenge at all. Hi, Miss Lady. You just choosing to lay out in the nice breeze today. This is Aria. Hi. Say it's my nap time, lady. It's my nap time, lady. Yes, I know. So Miss Aria, unfortunately, was neglected for many, many years. She doesn't have claws. She doesn't really have teeth. She arrived with some significant dental damage and some really nasty wounds and a bad bacterial infection. We honestly didn't know if we'd be able to save her or not. But lucky for her, we did not give up. We finally got her to start responding to some medications. She spent a lot of time in our recovery hospital before she was ever even allowed to come out onto a real, actual soft ground enclosure. She'd been on concrete. She's doing well. That tube that's right by her tail, that's part of our enrichment. We do daily enrichment, we have permanent enrichment, and we have seasonal enrichment. So seasonal would be things like pumpkins and turkeys, Christmas trees. Daily enrichment is like that tube where we might spray some perfume on it or put some catnip and cinnamon inside of it. We do daily popsicles, and then permanent enrichment. Hi, did I sneak up behind you? Permanent enrichment is something more along like these giant tree stumps that were placed in there probably 20 years ago. Isn't that cool? And things like these permanent toys. You can see all the bite marks and scratch marks. So we're gonna keep going, or this will be a very long tour. Another view of one of her platforms. So here is how the tiger pools are set up. They're constantly flowing. And then there's a drain, and it is fed by solar panels from our lake. So over there is where it flows in from. So water will come back in through this spout here, and then it flows down and out. Are you coming over to give us the rest of the tour? You gonna go swimming maybe? Miss Aria. She's like, I didn't want you to think I didn't want you here. Oh, thank you. You gonna go swimming? Gonna show them how that you walk across your tunnel? So you can see she has a permanent scar on her shoulder. She's got one on each hip. She's got a lot of hair loss on her nose, all from probably a decade or more of neglect from her previous owner. Well, we're gonna keep walking, lady. We gotta finish your tour. So, tunnel, back over to these sections. Yet another swimming pool. People always say things like, why is the water in the pool green? Well, it's an outdoor pool. It's more like a sort of a pond, and it comes in from our lake, but it's constantly circulating. There's tons of aeration. And it is clear water, it's just sometimes algae grows. Also reflects the sky and the grass. So here's another view of that up and over staircase for our keepers. We're back over to pool number 3. So all of this space is for Aria. And because she's got so much space, we're able to keep her shifting around from bubble to bubble so that we can go in and do things like raking leaves and maintaining her pools and things like that. So they will just soak in these pools for hours after breakfast. All right, so we're back over to the very first bubble and the pool that we're repairing. And then you'll see that the last little bit I'll explain. There's this tunnel here. You can see that the doors are down and it is clipped and locked shut. That way nobody could ever accidentally open this, because this tunnel leads Aria over to Miss Amanda. We never force our cats to share walls. If you go to other facilities, you might see cats are missing part of their ears or their tails. The reason for that is because big cats are solitary by nature. They don't want to share space, they don't want to compete for food, they get very feisty, and they can take off an ear, a tail, a foot, whatever comes through that shared wall. So we don't do that here, so we make sure that there's plenty of space in between, so a very long tunnel. So they can see each other, they can chuff at each other if they'd like, but they're never going to have to share space and run the risk of injuring each other. So thank you guys very much. If you have any additional questions about any of our cages, you can go to bigcatrescue.org/cages.